We are in a trust recession, and I feel like I could speak to my beliefs around that, because I feel like the last 9 months has been such a huge journey for me on a professional level, on a personal level, on a spiritual level. And with all the legal stuff, I have been silenced, but that was in my own choice, and I actually feel like I want to speak to this today because it feels alive in me and I feel like I can articulate it in a way that I just want people to feel empowered rather than disempowered. And the ATO entity in and of itself is such a disempowering organization. I've dealt with the ATO for years, obviously in my career, out of my career. The ATO are ramping up so much action. People are in so much fear. People are stressed out, and this is not a public-private discussion. This is not and I've had those discussions in the past because I think the Australian economy desperately needs to shift and it desperately needs more transparency. And as someone who spoke up into those truths over the years, and being targeted, I've been silenced. So I haven't talked about these things. And that's been a personal decision because one, I actually don't want to get into trouble. Like, I don't want to get into any legal trouble. I've had dealings in the courts before, and oh God, it's just not something I think any normal person just doesn't want that in their life. And that's where I'm at. Like, I'd rather stay out of the court system entirely. It's not a game that I just ever want to play. So I basically will do whatever it takes to keep myself out of that. And one of the things that I think in the last couple of months I've really been researching, and it's a lot of the stuff on social media is going viral, all the political stuff. And I think that's what got me in hot water in the first place, was sharing on social media my political views, and then sharing on social media some maybe legal concepts and definitions. And I'll be honest, I'm not the only one sharing that stuff, but for some reason I was targeted, reported, became a person of interest. And in all of that, it's like over the last 9 months, I've actively been working towards sharing information and education that empowers people instead of disempowers people. And what I notice is that the social media, when I share political things, political beliefs, political views, like I did one the other day, and in a couple of days it went viral. I was just testing the waters to see, well, okay, I've been sharing all of my empowerment stuff consistently, and now I've dabbled back into that space of everyone's talking about the government and the economy and financial spending and the problems and the crisis, and it goes viral. And what comes with that virality, it's just more disempowerment. And that's never been what I'm about. That's never been like, I don't share things because I want people to jump on the bandwagon and trauma bond all of the disempowerment. For me, it's when you can shine a light and shine a truth on something, and or see it from another perspective, or just open your perception a little bit more to possibilities or potentialities. It doesn't mean just because you see something on TikTok or see something on social media or hear it on a podcast doesn't make it ultimately true. And this is where I guess there is discernment that is required. So opening your perspective, taking some information, and then choosing, does this information empower me or disempower me? Does this information add value into my life, or does it create conflict? Does it create conflict? Does it create controversy? Does it create resistance? There's an element of needing a fire, but then there's also an element of just being fucking smart. Like, just being smart, being logical, being practical. And I look at some of the different things that are happening and people that are standing up for truth in Australia, and I look at how they're going about it. And I mean, there was a report, another sovereign citizen report on Channel 7. And I think when the first sort of sovereign citizen report came on the ABC Four Corners, that was the day before I got raided. And they were talking about Commonwealth custodians and all of those people. And I just cringed, man. I just absolutely cringe at these groups. Not because I feel like they're wrong. I'm not saying they're wrong. I think there's elements, but you've got to, like, there's that. And then I look at other people that are doing things and I'm like, well, that's going to provide more solutions. So look, I'm not shit-canning on anything or anyone, but if you're doing a process that is just as much of a circus as walking into the courts, like, what benefit is this actually providing? What benefit? Then I see someone like Punter's Politics, right? And I follow him. And then he's actually in the spaces with the voice, with fact, saying things. And to me, that provides more of a benefit. So you've got to choose, like, it's this whole empowered, disempowered space. And I see it a lot in the truth of movements. I would say 90% of the people that I come across or that reach out to me are so disempowered that their natural instinct is then to take the power that they were handing over to the powers that be, whatever government agencies, and then pass it to you, and then, or pass it to these groups, or pass it to these movements, or pass it to this. And then they think they've got a magic pill or a piece of paper or a sentence or a process that will save them. And like I've seen over the years, I've seen things work, I've seen things not work, but it doesn't even matter about that. Like, what truly, truly matters in this world right now, in Australia, right now, is solutions. And when I say solutions, I don't mean processes from the next freedom fighting group. I mean solutions of, well, let's take one problem that people might face right now. All this talk of the recession, I feel like, is fear mongering, right? If you are constantly told we're in a recession, 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 you're going to believe we're in a recession, and then you're going to act as if we're in a recession because your belief drives that action. And everyone's talking about how we're in a recession. And I even say how we're in a recession because the market has cycles. It goes up, it goes down, it's constant. The market is like a balloon. One side goes down, the other side goes up. But what we're having with this current market is things are moving and that balloon is actually getting bigger because inflation is going out the gate. But this always happens. These cycles always happen. And whether you're at the top of the peak or the trough of the dip, like, it's how you're moving through it. And this empowered, disempowered space is so, so important because on such the nuanced level, if you believe we're in a recession and you're absorbing all of this focus on all of these problems, focusing on the cost of living, focusing on the cost of fuel, focusing on the, like, I don't want to discredit or discount or ignore the fact that people are struggling financially. That is happening. That is a reality. Homelessness is just increasing and it's very sad. It's sad to watch. But I also see parts of the economy that people are still not taking accountability. People are still expecting the government to fix the problem. People, yes, there are problems that need to be fixed, but the government's not coming to save you. And let's talk about COVID because when COVID happened, the government put the money out into everyone got that COVID is what is it, a COVID boost? Is that what it was called? I can't even remember. I didn't get it. I didn't want it. And ultimately, I was talking to people about this the other day. I asked the question, what do you think that payment was for? Right? It was to boost the economy, right? The payment went to the people, but then what did people spend that on? They spent it on their rent or their mortgage or their food, right? Living. So then that money goes where? To the owners of the house, and then the owners pay the mortgages, right, to the major conglomerates where people buy their food and their fuel. So did the people really get the money? Who got the money in the end? Yeah, it went via the people. So the government isn't coming to save you. You've got to save yourself. The people have the most amount of power in this position. But when you're in a disempowered state, you keep making decisions from that place that keeps the cycle of disempowerment. Now, every decision that you make in your life has a financial element. And this is so important because choosing to work or to not work has a financial impact. Choosing where you spend your money, right? Choosing how much you spend your money on, choosing your day-to-day life tells a financial story. Everything comes back to the finances. And this is why I love running the business metrics, because it brings in that accountability around your spending, which then tells the story of what your beliefs are. Now, a lot of people, let's talk about it from a manifesting perspective. A lot of people have the belief, right? I'm abundant, I'm abundant, I'm abundant, right? But then they go and open their bank account and it's like, oh shit, I'm down to my last $50. Fuck, I don't feel abundant. So then what do? They then do something from that space, even though they're trying to tell themselves they truly believe that they are abundant, but the reality of the situation hasn't landed. So I really feel the answer to people's problems right now is taking more accountability over your financial spendings and incomings and outgoings. And people look at budgeting, everyone has their own way. But if you're complaining about the government, which, I'll put my hand up, I complain about it all the time. I used to pull apart their reports. I don't do that anymore because they don't like me for doing that very much. Enough people are sharing the truth now. Abby Rose doesn't need to. What I want to focus on is the people that actually want to be empowered to take control of their life and their finances and use this moment in time as an opportunity, because we can scream from the rooftops all the problems in the world and you can say it on your social media and go viral. It just creates more of the same. And this is why I think that the algorithms are even hacked, not hacked, but like programmed this way. If your posts create separation, division, controversy, arguments, they go viral. And that's why you get a lot of hate in viral videos as well. But then when you share something empowering, like go and look at my Instagram feed. I've removed a lot of the viral stuff now because I just don't want that energy on my feed anymore. Because I'm about the solutions. I'm about empowering people. Like, you actually do have a choice. But we're so disempowered right now. And it's like the biggest pandemic is trauma. Someone was saying that to me the other day. And I was like, fuck, yeah. A lot of people really are in a trauma response, and it could be financial trauma, it could be health trauma. So many people are dealing with stuff. It makes it really hard because when you're in that state, trying to create or trying to learn something new or trying to build something or trying to take control of something, like, it's like you can't, because you're just in that survival, you're just in that fight or flight, you're just in that mode of getting by. So how do you really step out? So I guess I don't want to fluff things. As someone, I've dealt with my own versions of trauma over the years. And when I say trauma, I'm not a trauma-informed coach or anything like that. I've done a lot of personal development and spiritual development, and I've moved through my own life experiences and mass amounts of different types of trauma over the years. And the biggest thing, like, I would say my most recent traumatic experience was probably the raid that sent me into massive fight or flight. And what I can share that from my experience that may help you is you can never clear a trauma. Like, something traumatic happens to you in your life, you can never be rid. Let me just explain it. You can be rid of it, but it's always there, right? The memory of it is always there. And you can access the memory of that trauma. You can access that scenario. You can complain about it. You can whinge about it. You can cry about it. You can get angry about it. Like, do all the things. Do everything that you need to do about that experience because that's so valid, but you need to move through it. And moving through it means, right? So I feel that sometimes I still have it present because it was a very threatening experience and it affected me on a very deep level for a long time. And when I say a long time, I mean my body went into that trauma for more than a moment, yeah, for like a prolonged period. I would never wish that experience on anyone ever, but moving through it means you no longer live in it and you come out of it. And the way to come out of it is remembering like who you are, remembering your purpose, remembering the good nature of who you are, remembering your like connecting to your higher truth because the trauma is not your truth. The trauma can actually be there to activate your higher truth if you want it to. But then you have the option, right? After the experience, you've then got the option to live in the past of it or fear the future. So when you go through a traumatic experience and you're fearing the past or fearing the future, you are not present in the moment. So a lot of people, because of this economy, because of this crisis, but even because of the ATO, a lot of people come to me with ATO trauma. You know, the ATO sending them things, the ATO not negotiating. You know, I had one woman come to me where she had unpaid super of like 12 grand and the ATO issued her a $90,000 penalty. You know, it's just absolutely ridiculous that the penalty, like, let's look at this. These penalties, do you think if someone didn't pay superannuation, the ATO should profit $92,000 off that? Like, if anyone's going to profit off that penalty, shouldn't that go to the members that didn't get their super? Like, make that make sense. So ATO penalties, that's a good trauma. I think my ATO penalty was around 400,000. Yeah, make that make sense. So I've even had people over the years come to me and say, oh, they have wanted to unalive themselves as a result of the ATO, you know, especially men because they feel like such a failure. But there's got to be a moment where, you know, you live in the moment. Okay. So you can't change anything that's happened. I can't change anything that's happened. Things are just going to continue happening until they get resolved. And I'm okay with that. But I don't dwell on the past. I don't live in the past. I don't live in the moment when that experience happened. It's just happened and we move. And then I don't fear the future. I don't know the future. I can think what it might be, and I do project the most positive and highest outcome for all, you know, whatever that may be. Sometimes the most positive and highest outcome for all isn't the best outcome for me on a personal human egoic level. So I'm okay with that because whatever's got to happen is going to happen. But I don't live in that. I live in the moment. And in the moment is where I'm like, well, how can I do or be the most empowered version of myself? How can I do the most empowering things, irrelevant of the economy, irrelevant of the fucking ATO? Or any banks or any debts or any mortgages or any whatevers. Like all of that stuff is just keeping you away from the attention that you could be focusing on being better or doing better or having more, having better. And as long as you're in that trauma response, you cannot be in fear and creation at the same time. It's just as simple as that. So I guess that's why everything that I share is about empowering people to think bigger because the government's not coming to save you. No truther movement or freedom fighting group is going to save you. You are going to save you. You are going to save your family. You have the ultimate power. And it seems so weird, ridiculous, silly, or crazy that it could start with something as little as your metrics, your bank account. But that's actually where it starts. Because when you look at your bank balances and when you look at the transactions, the incomings and the outgoings that tell a story, we start to see a picture of your behavior. And then that behavior tells us something about what you believe to be true or, what place you're operating from. And then when you can see those truths, you can start to unravel them, unwind them, untether them, recreate a new truth or a new identity, recreate a new version of yourself that also wants to be empowered. And when you then step into that space of potential, that's when you open the door to possibility. You open the door to the opportunities. You open the door to solutions that not just help you, but help others. And that's the people that I work with. The solutions that I see coming through these people, like they're not coming through me. I'm just there to hold the space for them so they can connect to it. And I see multiple people getting the same ideas and these beautiful ideas, little seeds from God that are helping humanity. We're seeing more organic products. We're seeing low tox, no tox, chem free. We're seeing people growing food in their backyards. We're seeing, people creating, oh God, there's this woman on TikTok. I wish she'd go viral, but she's creating completely organic or 80% organic tox free activewear because of all the petrochemicals that are in activewear. There's people that are creating skincare and product ranges that support humans. There's, co-ops and co-eds being created. The amount of homeschooling children, teachers are leaving the state schools because they're fed up, but they love being teachers. So they're creating, people are creating, there's all sorts of technology out there for health and healing. And like, I actually see people healing cancer. Like I can say this because I'm not doing it. So fuck you, APRA. People are healing cancer. They cannot advertise it because APRA won't allow it. But guess what? Abby Rose will tell you that I see it. I see it happening. Cures for cancer coming through, but you'll never see it in the mainstream. You'll never see it. This brings me back full circle to the people want to go viral on social media. And when you play into the narrative and you play into the controversy and you play into the separation and, it goes viral. And beautiful because awareness is happening at warp speed, but with that level of awareness comes huge density. And if you don't want that density, like I don't want that density, there's other people that can deal with that density. I just want to be in my safe little corner of the internet going, hey, we're over here and we're doing really good stuff. Like we're actually doing really good stuff. It blows my mind. I've always said, I'm the person that helps the people. Sometimes I've always said, I wish I could have my own project that helps people more, but I'm spread so thin because I'm the person who helped the people. We help the people. Like we are the ones that are saving ourselves because all of these little solutions, I've always said the ascension of humanity happens through business. Business is the gateway. People don't want to work for minimum wage anymore. They can't be fucked. That's why we see such, I don't know, you go out into retail, hospitality and retail right now. Do you get cranky about the service? Do you get cranky about, there's a reason. People are just tired, they're in trauma, they're overworked, they're underpaid. We are so efficient. We should be able to create more and do more with all of the efficiencies that we have in this world today. So when you have that disempowered state of inflation is so high and everything costs so more, yeah, but that means there's more value inside of you. If everything costs more, that means if inflation has gone up, that means the market, the people, right? The people of Australia are the asset. This is everything that I talk about, right? Money has no value Money has a value in terms of business and commerce in the economy, but that value is connected to the energy that you put out in the world, what you create. So if inflation is going up, that means there's more value in the economy, and that value is not attached to the money. They're just trying to create more money to match the value which is inside of you because you're the human resource. You're the asset, you're the value. So what you create in the world is what creates more value in the economy. So whether you're in employment, right, your value can be capped. When you're in employment, your value is capped at your time because employers pay you for your time, for the value you bring into that business. And I think this is why they hate me so much because of some of the things I've said about employment. But realistically, if you want to increase your value, increase your dollars in the bank, you've got to look at your skills. You've got to look at your passions, your talents, your gifts. You got to look at what exchange are you getting for that value? So if inflation has gone up, you could be getting more for it, but maybe you're just in the wrong area of the market for that. So it's not being disempowered by inflation, it's finding your empowerment in it because you find your own value again. When you're in a trauma response, you don't see your value. You don't see the truth of who you are. You just see your pain and your suffering because of something external that's happened to you that's told you you're not valuable, you're not worthy, you owe us this, you're a sovereign citizen or a criminal. Are you kidding me? Like, someone says that to me and I'm like, that is the most, it's not even, not because whatever, like someone says that to me and I'm like, I see my value so much in everything that I do, like in all the businesses that I've supported and created and these products and these services that actually exist now. Someone wants to say that and I laugh. I laugh at that. It's like someone coming along and going, oh my God, Abby, I hate your blue hair. It's so ugly. I just laugh because it's not even true. Like they might see my hair as looking blue because they've got glasses on. They've got a lens of perception. Cool. If that's what you see, okay. Happy days. See you later. I don't take that criticism or I don't take that reflection and make it part of my value. That's someone else's. It's got nothing to do with me at all. This brings me back, we're going on I go on so many different tangents. My brain just works in a weird way. Hopefully you're still with me. But I even bring this back to the virality of these posts, right? And the hate that can come with it, right? Because when you share a truth or you share a perspective, you're going to see other people on the opposite side come and they poke you, whether they're bots, whether they're real, who knows, who cares? But you're always going to get the polarity. You're always going to get, or the duality of it as well. It's when we take that, right? We take that meaning. So you got the ATO sending you letters. What are you making that mean about yourself? You've got the bank chasing you for payments. What are you making that mean about yourself? You've got unpaid bills. What are you making that mean? When people come to me with all of this stuff, they make it mean like I'm bad at business, I'm bad with money, I'm a failure, I'm this, I'm that. And the difference is I've had all of those things come at me. I've never made it mean anything because it's never been true for me because I know who I am and I know what I do and I know what I create and I know the change I'm working for and I just do it in my own unique way. I don't need, like I even had someone comment like, you should be the next treasurer for the government. And I was just like, are you kidding? No bloody way. I don't want anything to do with politics. I have my political beliefs and I stand in that. I want to be part of the solution. I'm not fighting the problem. I'm here helping people. Creation, my biggest superpower. I love it. I love seeing something being born from nothing. It's the most beautiful experience to witness, but what it takes to create these solutions, right? So it takes guts. It takes grit. It takes love. It takes compassion, being compassionate to yourself, being compassionate to others as well. It takes so much. And I think that when you step into these spaces and we look at that value, that you have and that value that you're putting out into the world. And, we can articulate it and make it really tangible. And we can create something beautiful from that. And we can expand your business from that. We can expand your bank accounts from that. But it has to come from the foundations of genuinely wanting to be better. Because while we keep focusing on all of these problems and who did what to you and what is disempowering you, you are never going to be able to create a solution ever. So it starts with metrics and it starts with your numbers because they actually tell a deeper story into who you are on such a deeper level. And I want to get to the truth of who people are and expand that. I hope you enjoyed this today. It was a little Abby Rose rant on all of the things. But if you want to join me for more financial empowerment, you can head over to my Untethered Facebook group. Drop in there every now and again. And if you want to do the deeper work with me, I've got my business metrics. We got a 60% discount with the way the world is right now. I want to make this really affordable and jam-packed full of value. So you can comment below and we'll send you the links. Alternatively, yeah, catch me over on Instagram.